Hey everyone! In the last lesson, we provided a bird's-eye view of LangChain. We set the course goal to explore the LangChain Python library and employ OpenAI's GPT-4 model to ultimately learn how to build stateful, context-aware, and reasoning chatbots. Now let me outline the game plan for the remainder of the course. We'll start with a brief discussion on OpenAI's tokens, models, and pricing. The amount of text we pass to an LLM translates into tokens, and OpenAI's models are priced based on token usage. Therefore, researching the various models offered by this provider and the pricing of each is crucial. In the following section, we'll prepare our Anaconda environment for the course, show how to obtain an OpenAI API key, and set this key as an environment variable. After that, we'll quickly familiarize ourselves with the basics of OpenAI's API and introduce relevant terminology related to chat prompting. This will prove beneficial later when we explore LangChain's integration with OpenAI. Then, we arrive at the crux of the course, the LangChain library. We'll start by discussing the LangChain framework and outlining each of its components: model input and output, chatbot memory, document retrieval, agent tooling, and the LangChain expression language, the protocol that makes the implementation of all of these components possible. In the section that follows, we'll explore each component, starting with the topic of chat messages, chat prompt templates, and few-shot prompting. It's about asking a chatbot questions and getting the desired response. Next, we'll consider a few classes that enable the creation of a stateful chatbot, one that remembers past interactions or the ongoing dialogue. We'll then move on to discussing the output from a model. More specifically, we'll show how to convert an LLM response into various output formats, such as a string, a list, or a datetime object. This proves helpful when you need to feed the response from an LLM into a tool or application that requires a type-specific input. Once we've covered all the essentials regarding model inputs and outputs, we arrive at an intriguing topic in our journey: the LangChain expression language, which, recall, was the protocol used for implementing LLM-powered applications. This is an important topic because it builds the foundations necessary for progressing the rest of the course. Don't worry if this seems daunting at first. I assure you that the LangChain expression language is quite straightforward. As you proceed with the course, I'm confident you'll soon become a LangChain master. Next in our game plan is Retrieval Augmented Generation, or RAG for short. This is a technique whereby we cleverly feed custom data to a language model, data that it hasn't been previously trained on, so that it can generate context-specific answers. The practical example we'll use to learn about the RAG technique is feeding the transcript of lessons from the 365 library, ultimately creating a simple 365 Q&A chatbot. And finally, we arrive at the Tools and Agents section. Tools are objects that give a language model access to the outside world and allow it to, among others, browse the internet, execute code, and solve mathematical problems. An agent, in turn, is a particular object that chooses the right tools for a problem and decides their execution order. This part of LangChain gives a chatbot the ability to reason. All right, everyone, I hope you find the agenda intriguing. Before I wrap up this lesson, let me briefly mention the suggested prerequisites for this course. Since we'll be working in a Jupyter Notebook environment, you must have Anaconda and Jupyter Notebook up and running on your machine. If that's not the case, follow our Introduction to Jupyter course beforehand, which will help you get started. Next, embarking on this LangChain journey requires a beginner to intermediate knowledge of Python. I recommend exploring our courses if you're uncertain about your Python skills or need a refresher. To enjoy the course uninterrupted, knowledge of Python syntax, functions and anonymous functions, sequences, iteration, string manipulation, list comprehension, and inheritance is recommended. Finally, because this course is focused on creating chat applications with OpenAI's large language models, it's advisable that you be familiar with the terminology used in generative AI. I recommend exploring our beginner-friendly Intro to ChatGPT and Generative AI course. For a more in-depth exploration into the inner workings of these models, consider our Intro to NLP for AI and Intro to LLMs courses. This will help you better appreciate the power and purpose of large language models and the LangChain framework. I think we're now ready to take off. Buckle up and let's begin.